All right, speaking of farmers, of course, you're in Lismore, drought-affected areas in southern parts of the country, seeing that widespread rain moving across the southern areas of the country. We're seeing places around the Adelaide Hills getting up to around 10 to 30 millimetres of rainfall. Northern Tasmania seeing some good falls in parts of Victoria. So, you know, hit and miss, certainly welcome for many people, and there is more to come. The best start to the ski season in 3 years. But as Shadow Minister for Trade, Investment and Tourism, how important is it for our communities, especially the weather-affected areas, including cyclones and fires? Is it for people to head there in terms of tourism and the economy?
Yeah, look, very good point, Jane. Just before I go to that, if I can just quickly mention the rain that you mentioned. Look, very welcome in some areas, but look, it's quite isolated, and there's areas of South Australia, for example, the Riverland and the mid-north, that really hasn't had much rain at all, and other areas of northern Victoria. So, look, it's certainly not drought-breaking in most areas, and we still need more assistance to go there. Very little assistance has gone to the drought-affected areas, and we need concessional loans and other things to go there. But, you know, a good start for some people, or a good break for some people. But yeah, look, back to your issue about tourism. I think the great potential in Australian tourism is the regional areas, especially when we saw in COVID too, Janie, a lot of city people went to parts of their state and parts of the country, regional Australia, they'd never been before, and enjoyed it, which is great. And also we have a lot of international tourists who come to our country, and one of the stats that Tourism Australia I know are aiming for, and they need to, is to get more visitors, international visitors to Australia into the regional areas. And as you said, good start to the snow season, which is fantastic. They need that. And when we see tourist areas hit by whether it be a weather event, I mean, we need to go in and support them straight away, because, you know, accommodation opens up and the tourism attraction to those areas are there. So always good for us to get out of the cities and into wonderful regional Australia.
And getting back to the southern areas where you're from in South Australia, and, you know, the drought conditions has obviously been ongoing. We had people like the Rapid Relief Team over the last few days bringing a convoy of hay, which is certainly much needed. We've been speaking to numerous farmers where they're telling us it's $20,000 just a week, or even up to $40,000 a week to feed their cattle, as you well know. So, yes, great to see organisations like the Rapid Relief Team, the Aussie Hay Farmers doing a great job as well, to name a couple. But, you know, the funding, all of that, still so much more is needed. 90% of our food comes from regional and rural Australia.
It does, Janie, and look, the agricultural industry, you know, is worth up to around $700 million a year. So we're aiming for, sorry, $700 billion a year. So, no, I've got that wrong. You have to excuse me. But yeah, look, you know, all our food comes from those regions. They do need more help. As you said, you know, food is in great, fodder is in great shortage. I know just in my region too, we've had a flood down the southern end or the mid-north coast. They're short of food. As you say, dairy farmers can be spending $40,000 a week on feeding their cattle. You've mentioned beef cattle producers as well in the dry parts of the state. So, look, we need a lot more help in those areas. Fodder's very short. Those rains overnight in South Australia will help, and Victoria will help some areas, but still a great shortage. And cash flow is very, very tight for a lot of these dairy farmers, beef cattle producers as well, and grain farmers in the drought areas, and they certainly need more help at the moment.
Deputy Nationals Leader Kevin Hogan, thank you so much.
And I've just remembered the figure, Janie. It's 70 billion. We need at least 100 billion in agriculture.
Oh, well done. There's a lot of numbers around. No, appreciate it. Thank you so much.